Silver demand to reach its highest on record in 2022, the Silver Institute says. Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And today, some interesting news. Well, actually, this came out last week, but wanted to share this with you because, as you can see in this headline here, silver demand to reach its highest on record in 2022, the Silver Institute says. So let us dig into this one. Now, again, I'll issue my disclaimer. Does anyone on the planet know where every specific silver ounce or mining project, the supply and demand? No. So take the numbers with a grain of salt, although I think there's also a lot of credence. I don't think the Silver Institute's making it up, but at least we will just factor in there's different opinions out there. And I think that for the most part, based on everything I've studied, that the general context of the numbers they're presenting are reasonable. They show a deficit. Now, I don't know where that metal's actually coming from or how the price gets clobbered while a hyperinflation campaign goes on. But anyway, we'll cover the news today and just read this one for you because silver demand, they believe, will climb to a record level this year thanks to increasing use of solar panels as governments boost renewable energy with printed money to meet climate goals regulated by Ross Benham, setting the stage for years of supply deficits, an industry report said last Wednesday. That's interesting. Let's highlight that. Setting the stage for years of supply deficits in a supply chain disrupted world. So keep that in mind. And also, I heard some of that silver comes from Russia, or at least used to come from Russia, and due to some political sanctioning, might not come from Russia. Or if some of the palladium doesn't come from Russia, what that could do to a nickelish and zinc-like LME and LBMA paper metals complex. But nonetheless, global silver demand is still expected to rise to 1.1 billion ounces this year, up 5% from 2021. Consultants Metals Focus said in an annual report compiled for the Silver Institute. Now, Metals Focus, some people know I'm a fan myself because they did contribute to this spectacular Silver Investment 2020 report from the LBMA. No word yet if they have the 2022 version coming out soon. But this was the one where LBMA acknowledges that the same Metals Focus contributed. And I don't know which author gets specific credit for the gems on page 6 that talk about how following the silver squeeze weekend in London, fears emerged as to whether there was enough silver should the demand continue at that pace, or that how it would have only been a matter of weeks before London's existing stock was used up if JP Morgan had actually had to deposit the silver in there. So lots of signs that there's a lot of leverage in this silver thing. And now the Metals Focus, they did not comment on how close they are to actually running out, given if this new demand should manifest, but it is the highest since Metals Focus records began in 2010. Additionally, the sizzling demand, will push the silver market into a deficit of 71.5 million ounces this year after a shortfall of 51.8 million ounces in 2021, Metals Focus said. The sizzling demand will push the market into a bigger deficit than 2021. And actually, the deficit in 2020, I believe, was bigger than even that. Now, 2021 was when they feared they were running out of metal. So how the deficit went down, perhaps only Metals Focus is aware of. I've not met Philip Newman, the director here, but let's continue on because we believe this is the start of a structural change in the market where we see deficits that will carry on for some time. I might add that I bring a lot of silver mining executives onto the show who comment on how it's not getting easier to find silver, especially now with the rising energy costs and really rising costs of everything due to, as Joe Biden has termed it, the Putin price hike. And that ties in here because uncertainty around the Ukraine war and the possibility of a global recession and an extension of the Putin price hike could present a risk to industrial demand, which accounts for around half silver consumption. The increase in silver usage builds on a rebound from a slump during the early period of something I don't think I'm supposed to say here, but that shut down the world for a while. Last year, every key element of demand rose for the first time since 1997. Buying of silver coins and bars jumped 36% last year to 278.7 million ounces after a buying frenzy triggered by posts on Reddit forum Wall Street Bets, which has just been gaining members who continue to post pictures of their silver stacks since then. Silver price rally caused by that buying was short-lived, but the retail market remains tight, with buyers stocking up on the precious metals as a safe haven store of value and hedge against inflation and geopolitical uncertainty. So basically, the reasons that people buy silver have been exacerbated ever since the silver squeeze weekend, and the deficit has increased. And meanwhile, ever since Ross the Boss Benham of the CFTC tamped the price down after his doors were getting blown off, as the LBMA admits, again, their words, not mine, would have been only a matter of weeks. So that's the worst situation that Ross and his friends at the CCP plunge protection team had to step in and mitigate. As you can see there, it's all connected, but I'm sure those folks out there who say this is all conspiracy theory and the precious metals markets aren't manipulated have some basis to make that claim, yet could explain why no one has ever been willing to challenge me to a silverback bet on the topic. Okay, I'll stop. I'll behave myself here. So anyway, hedge against inflation. Inflation's even more than a year ago. Geopolitical uncertainty. Now you actually have the wars broken out, yet silver 25, 26 bucks gets hammered in the face of that. And at Silver Squeeze, it was actually over 30 for an hour or two until what happened. So anyway, demand for silver jewelry rose 21%. I'm wearing my silver ring here today and like to get a silver bracelet. So another great use, silver, everything, something everyone can enjoy. Took some colloidal silver last month too. So my demand has increased. But it's remained below pre-pandemic levels as higher prices deterred some physical buying in India, one of the biggest markets. The report said the silver price is expected to average $23.90 an ounce in 2022, the report said, around 5% lower than Wednesday's level of $25 an ounce. So basically, it's in a deficit. Demand is soaring, but they expect the price to go down. Okay. Now that we got that clear, let us move on to another note from this one's directly on the Silver Institute's website. So as you can see here, this was April 20th. Silver industrial demand up 9% to post a new record high. So basically a longer version of what we just went through. So I'll post the link to that. And it's nice because you can go through this, and actually, you could go through it, or you could just stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, because tomorrow Nate Fisher is giving a nice supply and demand overview where he actually digs into the numbers. But if you'd like to dig into them for yourself, you click that link, you go to this sidebar, supply and demand, click on that, and you can see this table. So as you see here, total demand, market balance less ETPs. This is the key one to me. And here you see negative 251 million ounces. Then last year, they're saying negative, here's 2021. They say a deficit of 126 million ounces. And I mean, certainly it looks like the militaries are probably using more silver now, let alone going green, let alone investment demand. And I will leave that to you to see how that shakes out. But again, I'll put the link for that fantastic, truly special silver report. I actually went through that again recently, and I'll show you another one of my favorite parts before we wrap up here. The CFTC positioning. Oh my God, I never saw that. CFTC positioning. I like the way that's phrased. Wow, what are they saying about the CFTC? I mean, I guess they're talking about the commitment of traders report, although I like the way they phrase it as if, how is the CFTC positioning their positions? That would be interesting to see if Nancy Pelosi or Ross Benham have any silver trading positions. But let's see, there was one other fantastic note here, which they talk about. Oh yes, here. Following the late March, early April peaks, both exchange for physical premiums remained elevated, arbitrage opportunity. And here you go. Into New York, banks' risk departments continued to limit the ability of their trading desks to issue contracts. This had the effect of tightening their supply and in turn kept futures prices higher for longer. So you see that the price is impervious, except for brief moments, to the record demand and the deficits. And we see why, because it's priced in paper. And when they limit the ability of the trading desk to issue contracts, so when the supply of paper contracts went down, the price went up. Then they just started shorting the heck out of it, got help from the regulators who were doing the CFTC positioning. And that is how silver is priced. Supply be damned. I mean, keep in mind, it takes, I don't know, 5 to 10 years to get new projects actually producing silver. So how that's all going to shake out, you can hit the subscribe button and notification bell because we cover that on a pretty much daily basis here. I also did write the book, The Big Silver Short, where you have a whole bunch of other folks commenting on how they think it is going to play out. So anyway, we'll see. Maybe Ross will check in and offer to do an interview on the show soon. That would be quite stunning content. It was nice to get Bart Chilton, but Ross would be. I mean, I'd stop giving the guy. Not trying to give the guy a hard time, but it's like the whole thing's hinging on him holding the evidence, him doing the investigation, him suppressing a lot of these questions. And, in the end, they tamped it down. So is what it is. But at least now you know what is going on with the silver demand. And you can check out these links if you'd like to dig into the numbers. Again, Nate will be going through that tomorrow. And before wrapping up, I'd just like to thank Silver Viper Minerals, one of the proud sponsors to this show, run by Steve Cope. And as you can see here, a Canadian-based junior mineral exploration company focused on precious metals projects, precious metals exploration in Sonora, Mexico, not too far from where I am now. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but hopefully maybe in 2023. Say the goal for 2022 is to get Silverfest in person, and then maybe 2023 for some of the folks that really like the mining stocks who would like to see some of these projects. I think it would be great to go down and visit. Hey, you can have a nice trip to Mexico, meet Steve Cope and a bunch of other folks. If you want to come ask me any of your silver questions, I would be there. But really, it's one of those things that even as much as I read about it, I think going in person will be helpful to me to see some of these mines, and because it's not an easy business, and especially with the paper set price environment, not really an easy environment for executives to plan in. So that's why I was really impressed the first time I met Steve at Silverfest 1, and just struck me as someone with a great body of knowledge, experience, and not an easy business. One of the companies that I wanted to continue follow and learn from. And certainly, if you'd like to find out more about their projects, you can find them at silverviperminerals.com. So thank you, Steve and Silver Viper. And thank you to all the Arcadian audience out there. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow.